What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 15 of the FlipScreen Games Podcast, a weekly video game podcast where two best buds from different nations come together to discuss the wide world of video games. I, of course, am your host, Mr. Pete and Bessie, joined today, as always, by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Stephen Radford.
It's a real surprise, but yeah, I'm back again.
Oh my God, welcome back to the show, Steve. Welcome back. Thank you so much for coming on.
Can you imagine if someone listened to this and they actually were surprised? It's just like, fuck, Steve's back again?
Steve again? Wow.
Wow. Just never saw it coming.
Like, I thought there was supposed to be a different guest every week, you know? Yeah, I think we've only had one person on this show, right? It's only been Chewy. I feel like every guest has come on Nintendo Noise.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because we've had Max on Nintendo Noise. We've had Richard on Nintendo Noise. Does anyone want to be on the FlipScreen Games podcast? Come be on the show with us.
Come on through, friends. All of our friends are fucking Nintendo nerds. That's the problem, you know? That's why I told Richard, I was like, Richard, you want to talk about Halo? Come talk about Halo. Let's do it.
Yeah, we need more PlayStation fanboys like you to come on the show.
Yeah, I know. Apparently we're a rare breed. I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. But, we'll figure it out. We'll find some PlayStation people to come get on the show one of these days to talk about whatever it is we talk about on this show. Speaking of which, welcome to the show. This is the FlipScreen Games Podcast where, you guessed it, we talk about video games. And let me remind you that this episode of this fine program is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of November. They are, of course, Andy Radford, Christian Oliveria, Christopher Valens, Wakahula, and Zaid Ida. Thank you guys so much for your support over on patreon.com/FlipScreenGames. Y'all are the real, still the real, and we appreciate you keeping these mics rolling, keeping our spirits high as we move into these winter months. So, speaking of the Patreon, crazy little thing happened this week on One More Thing. One More Thing, of course, our Patreon-exclusive podcast, where we usually talk about what's going on in our lives. I came to the show, anecdotes in hand, ready to go, and you know what? We just talked about video games for the whole time. Whole extra hour of the FlipScreen Games podcast, more or less. So, something we're trying, I asked the listeners on that episode if they wanted more of that. So, if you are a Patreon supporter or if you've thought about being one, go check it out. You can get it at any level, and let us know what you thought. If you want more games discussion there, we can do that. If you feel like, Steve threw out the idea, do we have an extra games discussion and a nonsense show? Who's to say? You let us know. You guys are the listeners. You decide, right? You tell us what you want, and I'm going to give it to you, all right? But there's, of course, a lot of other cool free ways you can get extra content from us, like our Twitch streams every Thursday night. Steve and I are getting together and streaming some games together. This week we'll be doing a follow-up rematch for I keep wanting to say Super Mario Party Superstars, which makes no sense. It's Mario Party Superstars. Excuse me. Last week we had a hell of a match. It was, Steve's a little salty about it, so this week we got to come back, see if he can restore his honor. He's pulling his brother off the bench to try and cheat against me, so we'll see what happens, right? But
yeah, Sam's gonna help me clutch a victory this time. I don't know. I just felt like you and Doc were just out to get me towards the end.
After you already formed an alliance against me.
No, I didn't. No.
Just
that alliance never came to fruition.
Steve,
did it?
That is. It's a very British quality you have there, where you'll go and do something terrible and then be like, "What? I would never do that. I would never,
yeah, exactly.
I would never on air say that I was trying to form an alliance against you. I would never.
There's no evidence.
I would never say that I would kick you while you're down just for it to be funny, right? No, I would never do that. Unbelievable.
Yeah. But I've got to give some credit to my ancestors there. They taught us well. When they went and took over all those countries and then claimed that nothing was wrong about that later on. So it's all good.
What did we do? So if you want to go check out that archive of the previous game, I think at this point it might already be gone, so you'll have to go over to the Patreon, because that's one of the perks we have over there, is you get access to the entire archive of every Twitch stream we've done since we started offering that perk, which is most of them. But the most recent episode still up over on the Twitch channel, so you can go check that one out for free, even if you're not a Patreon supporter. So go check it out. And if you've never come to one of those streams, come hang out. We're there Thursday nights. Steve's there on Wednesday doing solo streams for you European folks, or if you want to come join him in the middle of your workday if you're on the East Coast like me. We got plenty of options for you, so go check it out. And then, of course, you can head over to FlipScreen.games, which has links to all of the places that we are all over the web, including our Discord, where you can keep the conversation rolling. You can write into the show there, or on our Twitter, where we throw up a thread every week, or by writing into us at questions at FlipScreen.games. All of those things are there on the website, so that is the easiest way to catch us everywhere we are. So let's jump into what we're playing this week. I kind of briefly got to talk last week about Guardians of the Galaxy. We didn't get too deep into it because it was kind of near the end of the show, but I've since put a lot more time into it. I am almost done with the game. I have just 2 chapters left, I think, now, if memory's serving. So I'll probably end up finishing it tonight. And I gotta say, I think it's one of my top 5 for Game of the Year. I don't know.
Okay.
Definitely in the top 10. Not sure if it breaks the 5, but I think it might. I really, really like it.
Is that combat that's dragging it down?
Yeah, I think the combat is the thing that's the easiest to point at and just say this is just kind of serviceable, But I think in general the game has a kind of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of energy going on, where you can see, it borrows from Mass Effect, it borrows from Uncharted, it borrows from this, it borrows from that, and it does all of those things well enough to well. But I don't think there's any area where the game, kind of gets beyond that, maybe, except for the story. I think the story and the script are really solid. And it's something that I think I definitely am surprised by how well they've managed to create a story that feels authentic to the Marvel universe, but also, feels fresh. It feels like it's trying to do something a little bit different. It's trying to present the cosmic side of that universe in a way that, a lot of folks might not be familiar with. And as somebody who's really only even a casual reader of cosmic Marvel stuff, there's a lot of really cool nods, cool Easter eggs that even somebody with kind of a cursory knowledge, I think, can appreciate. But I think even if the deeper you are a fan of that stuff, the more there is for you to chew on, I think, where that stuff's concerned. But I appreciate that it's willing to take certain liberties. It's willing to do certain things that feel like pretty bold choices when you're trying to be the first game in what you assume they want to be a trilogy or a franchise or whatever. But yeah, I think there's so much it does well, and it shows an exceptional amount of promise, I think, for how they could improve on the bones of what's already there and already working. Because I just have had so much fun with this game, and I really I'm kind of bummed that it's going to be over soon.
That's gonna be DLC though, right? It's gotta be.
I don't know. I think they said that they don't want to do DLC, and they wanted it to just be a traditional single player kind of experience where you play it and then it's done.
That's fine. I mean, maybe they'll do the 0.5 style game, or maybe we'll just see another Guardians of the Galaxy in 2 years' time.
I hope so.
This game really came out of nowhere.
They were working on it for a while in secret, though, because if you'll recall, they announced this game in 2017, I think.
No, I don't remember an announcement. I just remember that this game got announced at E3 this year, and it was it's coming out in 3 months' time. Okay.
Yeah, it was something that had been talked about well before that. I'm trying to find.
I think we knew they were working on a Marvel game and that they had a partnership with Marvel, but I don't know that it was announced that it was Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, that's the thing, is that here it is. It says here, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy was first leaked in January 2017 when Marvel Entertainment announced that it had partnered with Square Enix to produce various games based on Marvel properties. And then we didn't hear about it again until 2021.
But I wonder if at that point we even knew it was Eidos. Like we knew it was Square Enix because we knew that Square Enix were working on Avengers and probably got
Yeah,
into the Galaxy thing. And like by 2017 up to 2021, something could have come and got cancelled.
for
It
sure.
wasn't working out.
It's just crazy that they kept a lid on it that well. That it was like
Hmm.
being made in a vacuum, I guess, for that long. Because yeah, I really hope they get another at bat. Like I know it doesn't. I don't know like what the sales are like on the game, but it doesn't seem like a ton of people are playing it. I know that like its Steam concurrence were not super high, so I worry about it in that regard a little bit. I hope it doesn't send the wrong message, but like I think Avengers really probably hurt this game. I think if this game had come out first, it would probably have been a big hit. And I'm kind of surprised that it's not hitting more with like the more casual audience specifically, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the wrong time, the wrong type of game, the wrong like Marvel franchise.
I feel like
I
it's
don't know.
totally the right type of game. Like I can't imagine a Guardians of the Galaxy game hitting better than this. I really can't. Like at least for me and the kind of games that I like, you know? But I think that's what superhero properties lend themselves to. Like, you know, I think people want something that's like story driven, you know? Like what was the first thing that people said when we learned what Avengers was? Ugh. That's not what we want. We wanted this. We wanted this kind of game for that, you know, that story. And I you know, I don't know. I really feel like they're hitting the nail on the head with it. And I hope that they get another at bat. I hope that Marvel Games continues to greenlight specifically this type of game. Because I think between this and, you know, what we've already seen from Insomniac with Spider-Man, like, I really feel like we could be moving into a golden age of superhero games, which is something that obviously really, really, you know, speaks to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a good while, I think, since aside from Insomniac's games, that there's been a decent Marvel or superhero game, right? I guess the only other ones are the Batman ones,
Yeah.
like Gotham City and stuff.
Yeah, and like I love the Arkham games, but like man, I mean those
Hmm.
are, you know, like we haven't had a new one since Arkham Knight, which was a PS4 like launch game basically. It was out, I think that came out in 2015. You know, it's like a
Oh,
second
that's
year.
mad.
Um so yeah, it's been, you know, that I feel like the Arkham trilogy really kind of like established a new bar for like this is what a superhero game can be if you put it in the right hands and the right team that cares about the property. Um
Do you think that bar's been smashed here by Eidos?
no, I still think that Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are kind of like gold standard, you know, and I think that like Spider-Man is kind of up on that level. I think this is probably like a rung below that, right? If those are all like gold medal examples, this is probably a silver medal example, you know? But
Like a double A to a triple A kind of thing.
yeah, but I don't think that like the quality is like super far below that. I think it's just a matter of like I just don't think that Eidos nailed it quite as much as those teams did in terms of like hitting a bar of quality, you know? Like I think that like the game looks good, it has a good soundtrack, it has a good script, it has just like solid voice acting. Like I think that all of those things are good, but like all of them are good, not, you know, great, not S tier, not A tier.
Is there no like standout element to the game that you could point and go, they're doing this better than anything I've played in recent memory?
I think it's really I think it's really the character interactions are the thing that this does better than any of those things, right? That like Batman and Spider-Man are both single player games where, you know, like you have a supporting cast, you know, right? Like Batman has Barbara Gordon in his ear, Miles Morales has you know, his buddy Genki in his ear, and like those kinds of things. Like Spider-Man talks to the chief of police and all that kind of stuff. Like, but none of those characters are actually like with you on your journey, right? They're not really present in the way that like Mass Effect companions are, or like Elizabeth in BioShock or something like that, right? Like characters that where you really feel like you're like forming a connection with them. And I think
Still
that
haven't played Infinite, so I have no idea what Elizabeth it plays like.
it's a good game. Good that, or at least there are good things in it. There are things about the story that I don't know how I'd feel about today upon replaying. But I think that Guardians doesn't hit the same bar as like Mass Effect, which is the thing that like makes me knock it down a peg a little bit. I think if I hadn't just played the Mass Effect trilogy, it might not be as obvious to me that like, oh yeah, like this is there, but it's not quite there. It kind of reminds me of how I felt about the companion conversations in Outer Worlds, where it was like, oh, I love this. I like these characters a lot. Like this is a huge thing for me, but there's just not quite enough of it. Like I wish that every time we went back to the ship, I could have multiple long, conversations with them that have lots of different threads and everything. And like,
Yeah,
it's not, there are those conversations, but like a lot of them are short. Some of them are like, they're triggered by finding an item out in the field and there's only like one or two of them per character. Things like that. But I think that the thing that it does really well is just like party chatter. Like when you're on the ship, the characters will be having conversations with each other and like kind of yelling from their rooms, or they'll come around and like, someone will walk up to somebody else and like start a conversation with them. Or while you're out in the mission, they're making comments about what they're seeing and what they're interacting with and things that they might know about the planet or how it's related to some other story that they have or whatever. And those things are, I think, arguably the best I've seen in like any game. Because like it's so well done and it feels natural and it doesn't just feel like characters kind of parroting, dialogue or something like that.
and there's no like repetition in that, because that's always the thing that annoys me in games, is when you're just like, yeah, I've heard you say that line like 10 times at this point and it's having zero effect on me.
The only time I've noticed repetition is there are different like takes. So like, for example, I hit story beat, and in the story beat, a guy comes out and attacks you, right? And say the first time he attacks me, Rocket says something and Star-Lord reacts to what Rocket says, right? But then I die and I start the fight over. That same line or like the same sentiment might be expressed by a different character, and then a different character reacts or responds to it. So like I've seen like quote unquote repetition in that way, where like, oh, I'm replaying a segment and rather than playing the same bit of dialogue, it's similar dialogue from other characters. But like not like, oh, you said this 2 hours ago and this is a catchphrase that you say every time we get in a fight or something like that. Like that doesn't really happen in the same way.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, one game I found that was very good with dialogue, and surprisingly so to me, was Hades. I never had any repetition in that, and the dialogue was always unique. Every single run I did, I would like, you would run into Zeus or whatever, and he'd have something different to say to the last time you ran into Zeus. It was always so surprising because it's obviously a game from such a small team. You kind of don't expect it to be unique dialogue every single time you play. They must have recorded thousands of lines of dialogue for that game.
Yeah, and I think there's a similar level of effort here. Like it definitely, like I said, there are areas where I would love to see them double down and do even more, but it's not because there's not a lot here. It's just that like it's one of those areas where like BioWare goes like above and beyond, and like Bethesda goes above and beyond. So like when you get something where you're like, oh, this is so close to that, but it falls a little short, right? And I think that's kind of everything in this game except for the story, where like I really feel like the story is really well executed. The game is very, very linear. But I like that. I feel like that's to its strength because the story feels like a high stakes, like, oh, like things are going on and they're very serious and you're dealing with them as they come up rather than like, oh no, the fate of the galaxy's at stake. Better go run this errand for somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it being more open and having that element would not help the game. It would just make the game more bloated.
Are there any branches and things though? Like, can you choose to do a mission in multiple ways, or do you know what I mean? Like, there could be multiple ways to save the galaxy.
Yes. So like, there will be a lot of different moments where like you'll make a decision and it'll be like, oh, like this character will remember that, or you made an impression on this character, or whatever, right? So like, for example, I had a situation.
Everyone hated that, like from Fallout 4.
Sure. I had a situation where, for example, there's a character who's an ally of the Guardians but isn't part of the team, and if you're able to have a good relationship with that person and like save them in this instance where they're in danger, there's another fight later on where they come through and they help you out, and like the fight's easier and you get unique dialogue choices and things like that. And there's like a lot of different moments like that where it's essentially like, how are you going to play this moment? And like I had a situation, for example, where at the beginning of the game, you get caught by the police and you have these two different things that are illegal and you have to choose which one you're going to hide. And the one that I chose, that choice had ramifications in the 13th or 12th or 13th chapter of the game, like way later on.
Okay.
And I was like, oh shit, like if I hadn't done that, how would I have gotten out of this situation, right? So you can see, I don't know how different it actually is. It could just be that illusion of choice type thing that you'll see in like Telltale does. But if it is, it's done well enough that it feels like I'm making big choices and it feels like there are branching paths. So, I have to know a little bit more about what the other branches lead to, and I've intentionally avoided reading those spoilers so far. So I can't totally speak to that, but I know that it does impact certain things because I like was looking at a guide at one point earlier because I was trying to figure out what chapter I was in because I was talking about it with Zayd on Twitter actually. And I was like, okay, yeah, where did I leave off? And the first thing it said was, well, if you did this is how this chapter starts. But if you did that, this is how it starts. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
So there is,
and writing those guides must have been a pain in the ass. Then.
And that's the thing, though. Like, there's not, there's not a ton of the like openness and branching and all that kind of stuff. So I imagine like it might be easier than a lot of games.
Yeah, it's just like select this choice and then
here's a binary choice. Did you pick this? This happens. Did you pick this? This happens. But yeah, I really, really do love the game. I'm having a great time with it. I recommend it very highly. I think if you are on the fence about it, if you were at all interested in it based on what you had seen or based on what you hoped it might be, I think that I feel confident enough saying that I think that it'll be for you. I think if this kind of game doesn't appeal to you, then this is not one that will change your mind. But that's fine, right? It's very much, I think, for fans of, like if you dig Marvel, you dig the Guardians of the Galaxy, you like story-driven single-player, third-person action type games where you get to talk to characters and make choices and all that kind of stuff, I think this will be right up your alley. And I think it's a game that would be like a great one to pick up, this holiday, which we'll maybe we'll have to do a whole episode about that next week. We'll see.
Might be a good idea.
So that's what I've been playing this week. That's been dominating most of my time. But Steve, you've got quite a bit to talk about. So
a little bit, yeah.
First up on the block, I think let's not bury this lead any later in the show. You've got your hands on Forza Horizon 5. I know you've been having a big old time with it. You love these driver games for some reason. No, I'm just kidding.
For some reason.
I'm just playing.
God.
I'm just playing. You love the driving games. I know that we talked a little bit about it on One More Thing this past week, and you said it was kind of more Forza Horizon, but that's a great thing. So expound on that. How are you getting on with it? What about this one is checking boxes for you, and should people pick it up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't know what the Forza Horizon games are, they're like the open world, arcadey ones, not the motorsport ones. So the motorsport ones are like the Gran Turismo style games. I've never really been like a simulation driving kind of person. I definitely prefer the arcade races. And I think this game just takes it to the next level. There's recorded dialogue for your character. You get like the choice between two different voices, and you hear your character interacting with people in the cutscenes and things, which you never really heard before, which is great. There's multiple outposts that you can get by getting these accolade points, which is new to the game. They kind of remind me of the stuff that they added into the Lego expansion for Forza Horizon 4, where you had this like big board of things to do. They're like tiny little mini achievements. So it'd be like get 3 stars on a speed trap, and then you can unlock 100 points. When you get a certain number of points, the next stage of the campaign unlocks, and you can get more races and do more things in the game. But you mentioned like what boxes does this tick for you? This very much is a box ticking game. Um, it's like, I guess, a standard open world game, but rather than walking around the map, you're driving around the map and you're doing different things on that map. So you might be participating in a race and driving to that race, or even doing that race on the map. Or you might just be doing some of the things that happen around the world. So like going through speed cameras at high speed, or doing the danger signs and trying to get the distance as far as you can. All of this basically is to unlock new cars, which I guess could be perceived as like the loot in another game. You want to get the best car, you want to be able to upgrade your car to make it faster so you can compete in more races. And there's just this great loop that you get with the game that I just it's never ever occurred for me in any other racing game. It's just this amazing fun experience where you can just fuck around in this open playground and do whatever you want, get money, get points, and then just get the cars that you want. It's so much fun. And they've just added all these additional elements to this game. So there's like the Horizon Open stuff where you can participate in more multiplayer events. There's the I think they call it Horizon Arcade, which are like these little mini games, which I did a bunch of earlier today. And you do 3 rounds of these mini games, and there's like all sorts of weird ones. Like I did one which clearly is inspired by Fortnite, where you have to go and smash a bunch of pinatas in order to collect points, and then after that, you get like these Forzathon points, which you can then spend to get new cars. So I guess I can see why you wouldn't be interested in the game if you're not at all into cars. That's really like the driving force as to why you would. But I do really want you to try it, because there's just something about driving around and the way this game plays. It just feels so good. I've chosen to play in performance mode rather than quality modes because I like that 60 frames per second.
Always play performance mode.
Do you know, I tried quality mode because it defaults to that, which is the native 4K. It's got like a greater level of distance and a level of detail. So you can see in performance mode, there's a little bit of pop in when you get close to like vines on a tree or something. But when you're going like 200 miles an hour down the road, you really don't notice it. And it feels so much smoother to me with 60 frames per second. So I would go for that any day of the week.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's so funny because like I've never really understood the like appeal of these games. And like if I was like a real like gearhead, then like fair play, right? Like I think that would be the inroad. But I feel like for me, I always just am like, it's just driving, huh? Like, it's got
to some extent, yeah, but it's not like, say, like I think motorsport, I can understand that. It's just driving. It's just driving around a track, and you're trying to become a better driver so you can get into the next, I don't know, license class or what, however they do it
Right.
in motorsport these days. But Horizon, it's very different. Like you can just team up with a friend and you can just drive around the map together and just fuck around, and you can both try and like go as fast as you can through the speed cameras, or smash down as many trees as possible. And there's no real realism to the game. You can land your car having done a 500 feet jump, land the car and just drive off. Like you're not dead, and the car is still intact. So, like, to some extent, it is just driving, but there's a lot more that you can do in the game. Like,
Yeah.
they've got their own battle royale mode, like Forza Eliminator, where you team up and you've got to be the last man
How do
standing.
you?
You've got to
Would you like smash the cars or whatever, or like?
Yeah. You go
Okay.
and you smash the other cars, and you've got to get to
It's like
like
bumper
get
cars.
within the eye of the storm. You've got to try and because you start off with a really shit car, like a really crappy slow car, and you have to try and find a better car while you're in the eliminator race, and then race to like the zone, just like in Fortnite and in PUBG. That eye of the storm is like closing
Okay,
in on you,
that's
and so you'll
cool.
get eliminated if you're outside of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I just, and I don't mean to. It's very much just I just don't get this thing. Like it's not at all like me. I'm joking about. I don't understand why you like this. Like I'm watching footage and everything. Like it looks like a perfectly fun game. Oh wait, hey, that's the wrong show. But I can't I can't help but like think I'm like yeah, but like I wish that this was like Twisted Metal. Can I have like a big gun on my car or like something like that or
I
like
don't think Porsche really wants you to like mount a gun to the top of their car and go around
kill other
killing
people.
things.
Yeah.
Not really their vibe.
Which I mean fair enough, but I mean I think it'll be more fun, is the thing. But and it's also like I think of like I like the driving in like Grand Theft Auto. Like I remember when I played GTA 5 when it
You love
was
the driving in this then.
a new game. Well, I was gonna say when I played that when it was a new game in 2013, which is insane. But I like it as like like this is a thing to break up the other parts of the
Yeah.
gameplay. Not just like I'm not just driving around, right? Like I don't know. I just
Things are
like
just, I think the experience from all the different racing types and all of the different little mini challenges you do, they're just such different experiences.
and all the different cars and
And
everything. I guess they all handle
the
differently and
cars are
everything.
they're much of a muchness. The car looks different, but it drives the exact fucking same
Mm.
way. And every engine basically sounds the same. There's like four engine noises and they all sound the same. That's less of like a gameplay changer, and more it's like a skin. Like if you look at that as like I'm playing Fortnite, instead of a person running around, I'm a car driving around, and this is the skin I've chosen to play with.
Okay.
And like to some extent it's that, when you get to, if you want to drive around in say an old Robin Reliant or a like a old Mini Cooper, then they're going to be a lot slower than let's say a Lamborghini. But they're essentially just skins. It doesn't really change how the game plays. You're still driving, and all the cars drive exactly the same. Really, you can tune them to how you want them to drive. Like you can buy a rear-wheel drive car and then make it an all-wheel drive car if you wanted to.
Cool.
Stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely clearly not the audience for these games, but by all accounts, it seems like this one's great. I'm glad to see that it's one of the highest reviewed games of the year by a pretty significant margin. So
Yeah, I genuinely think this is probably the best racing game of all time at this point. And I think it's going to take a lot to top what they do. Their formula they've got and they've nailed over the last four games going into this one. I think they've just refined it and refined it and refined it.
going off a jump.
And
Whoa.
and it really is that loop. It's like, oh, well, you're showing me all of these things on the map. There's like 5 houses I can buy now, and I need to get credits in order to do that. And in order to get credits, I need to complete these races, which doesn't directly give me credits, but it gives me XP, and then that XP lets me spin a fruit machine, and that fruit machine might give me a unique car, or it might give me some credits, or um, I get to the point in the game where I can run a business and I unlock this business and I get daily payouts through the business. Like you can in
What?
Forza Horizon 4, you ran a taxi service.
Okay. So they're adding these life sim elements. I don't know. Yeah, that sounds great. This sounds like a game that is definitely very much up your alley, right? Like between those loops and like how much I know you just like are a gearhead. Um, so yeah, I'm watching it. I gotta say it looks great, but I'm imagining my experience with this game being very similar to when I tried to play NBA 2K, where I'm like, I'm gonna see what this is all about, and just be like, oh my god, there's so
No, I don't
many
think it would. No, I think you'd
things.
have such a good time. Like you'd just be like, "Oh, cool! So the game starts, and I'm racing a giant fucking jumbo jet. I guess this game's a little bit insane, and I just get to drive a really fast car. And the controls are so simple. It's right trigger go, left trigger stop.
Hmm.
That's it.
Maybe I'll
Move to
try it for
stick.
you, Steve. But you got to try one of my games. You gotta like if I'm trying Forza. Thank God, Game Pass. I could try it for free, so it's very low
Yeah,
investment
go and
on
try
mine.
Forza. Just do it on the cloud gaming if you
I'm just
want,
saying, you're
and
telling
just
me I gotta try this, I gotta try Psychonauts. You gotta try some of the games on my list. You gotta try
yeah, it's
some of
fine.
them.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get a PS5 at some point.
We'll talk more about that later. Anyway, uh, I'm sure we'll have more to say about Forza as you jump more into it. But I know you had another game you really wanted to talk about, which is the Forgotten City, and I've seen you tweeting about this one quite a bit.
Oh my god, yeah.
I know you said it's one of the best games that you played this year. You said you talked about how it is I'm getting some footage for the folks here. It is a game that originally was a Skyrim mod, and
Yeah,
now
it was. Yeah.
it's gotten a full proper release. But it's not like a Skyrim style game. It's like a time loop, talky, choose your own
Yeah,
adventure
pretty
type
much. Yeah.
walking sim kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so you wake up and you've got you don't really know where you are or who you are, and there's this woman that saved you and she's pulled you out of this river. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm glad you're okay. You know, the person you were with, he went and ventured into the cave to look for some firewood and he hasn't come back. I really need you to go and find him." And you go into this cave and it turns out it's this old Roman city. But all that's in there are just like a bunch of golden statues. And then you get transported back through this portal back in time, and you are in this ancient Roman city, and you've got to try and get out. Um, they all live under this rule called the Golden Rule, and if one person breaks that rule, everyone suffers. And they don't know what the consequences of breaking that rule is, and you don't as a player either. So I'm not going to spoil it. But if someone commits a crime or something that's immoral, they everyone in that world will suffer for that. And so you were brought there by the magistrate, who's essentially the ruler of the city, to try and stop whoever it is that's going to break that rule. And you've got to try and figure out who it is that's going to break that rule and stop them before they do it. Or find another way to break the loop so you can get sent back home. And
Interesting.
it's so interesting to figure out what this world's all about. What is the golden rule? Why are people even following this thing and why do they believe it? And how did I get here? How do I get back? And just by talking to people, you have to try and figure all this out.
Have you beaten the game?
Yes, there are multiple endings. I've done two of five. So I've had the canon ending, and I've had one other ending, and I know of another one of the endings that I'm going to go back and do.
So how long is it to beat?
So to beat it, I think it took me about 10 hours to get the canon ending. But obviously there are
10
five
hours?
endings. So yeah,
Okay.
I think there's probably, I think you're probably then looking at a good few more hours to get all 5 endings if you wanted to be a completionist and get it all. And I think I want to be. I want to know more about it, and I want to find everything. But the way it ties stuff in, it's just so clever. There's a person that greets you when he comes in, and you know how in say 12 minutes you had the shortcut by just getting in the closet, and it would be like just wait, and you just stand there waiting.
Sure.
Well, after your first loop, you come back in and you know things. So you tell this guy, and you're just like, yeah, we've had this conversation. I'm Steve, and here's all these things you need to know, and go and do these things for me. And he's just running around this city, just telling people all these things they need to know to try and stop them from breaking the golden rule, or to solve certain problems that need to be solved in order for you to do it. And it's one of those games where you can't solve it in like one run. You have to have seen things and be able to figure out how to break them. You might need to break the golden rule yourself in order to
like get what it
do
is.
it on to do it on the next loop, or to get certain things. So it's really, really interesting. I loved this game. I thought it was so smart and so clever, and I think everyone should check it out. It's on Game Pass now. I was gonna buy it anyway.
Oh, it's on
so
Game Pass?
Lucked out. Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Done deal, baby. Done deal. I'll try this one.
It's phenomenal. It really is. It really is great. I think this is the best time loop game that came out this year. Granted, I think Returnal might be a time loop game, and I obviously haven't played that one.
Or Deathloop.
But of the ones I've played, of the 3 I've played, Overboard, 12 Minutes, and Forgotten City, this is the best one I've played, and I think a lot of people will agree. If the story catches you, I think you'll play it all the way. I completed this in like 3 sittings because it was that good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm interested in checking this one out. This is one from your list I definitely would like to try to get hands on, especially since it's shorter. So let's get to what I'm gonna call the main event. You know what? I'm just gonna say it right here. This is the talking point. This is the real talking point of the show. Okay, this is the real main event here. Steve, on this week's One More Thing, drops a fucking bomb on me. Just drops a bomb on me that he is getting a PS5. It's ordered.
Yeah.
It is a Christmas present that you can't open until Christmas, even though it will be in your house. It will be in the camera shot as early as next week.
Yeah, no, it will be here next week. Yeah, it's been dispatched. I'm hoping it doesn't arrive while I'm away this weekend, which would be very, very annoying if it does.
That would be
because I have no idea where I'd go pick it up. But yeah, I'm getting a PS5. My parents have very generously bought me a PlayStation 5 for Christmas, so I managed to get some stock. Like Dad was like, "I'll buy you a PS5 if you can find one." So good luck, basically. And I managed to get one.
Funny how easy it was for you to find one once you had someone else footing the bill, huh?
No, genuinely, I was looking anyway, and Dad was looking constantly all the time as well. I just really lucked out. I got it from Very in the UK, and I was in that stupid queue system for ages. And I closed the window because I was like, fuck this. Like, they've already sold out because you do a search on the website and it doesn't show up in the search results anymore. So I closed the window, and then I was just like, I'm going to go back and have a quick look. As soon as I clicked on the link again to bring it back up, it loaded the page and it was like, oh, these are in stock. And I was like fucking blitzing through the checkout in order to get one. I was so lucky. And this is the same place I ordered my sisters from last year. So I've had a lot of luck with Very. Yeah.
There you go. So we teased it on One More Thing that we would talk about it on the show this week. We got a few folks who wrote in about this. The question on everyone's mind is, of course, Steve has a PS5 finally. What should he play? And I'm going to let the community answer first before I weigh in here. So Olaf wrote in and said, Ratchet and Clank! Wakahula co-signed this, said, I'd play Ratchet and Clank. Ray from the community wrote in and said, honestly, Astro's Playroom. It's so fucking good, it defies all logic. And then the last one that I'm going to throw in here, because you know that I gotta side with my boy on this one. That Doc guy wrote in and said, Tsushima.
Am I even gonna like that game, Pete?
So, Steve, let's talk about it. All right? Okay. I think we already know you have a copy of Ratchet and Clank that's already done and dusted. That's coming with your PlayStation.
It is, yeah. It's coming with the PlayStation, so I had to do one of those bundle deals, and it came with that, and it was like the best bundle I could have ever asked for, because that's all I get is the game.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect bundle. And I think, obviously, Astro's Playroom comes with every PlayStation 5. We know you're going to play this, right? You're definitely going to try that game out.
Yeah, that's probably going to be number one while I'm waiting for everything else to install, right? It's like, oh, I've got to download all the updates. So let's just play Astro's Playroom.
Perfect for that. So then it comes down to Tsushima. And I got to say...
Like, that's not even a 2021 game, is it? You know?
No, it's optimized for PS5, though. You never played it.
Shouldn't I be playing, like, Deathloop first so I can be talking about that?
Here's the thing.
Potential...
Here's the thing. You should absolutely play Deathloop. But... I feel like when you're ready for your open world, third person checky boxy kind of game, you should.
When I finish Horizon 5, right?
You should really play Ghost. Ghost is beautiful. The PS5 version is fucking rad. You haven't touched it. You know basically nothing about it.
I know almost nothing apart from some Voodoo Island with some magic poison stuff. That's
what I'm saying. You should play it. That game is, that's one of my favorite games of all time now. Come on.
Wow, okay. I mean, I need to play it, but, it's not even with the running for this year's Game of the Year, so I think I'm going to have to pause it till, next year.
Iki Island, maybe it's on the Game of the Year.
You do not get to call it your Game of the Year 2 years on the trot. No way.
Who's to say? It's my Game of the Year again.
Yeah, so Animal Crossing's my Game of the Year again this year.
Look, Ghost is my Game of the Year every year until they make a game that's as good as it, okay? Oh, man. But I definitely endorse all three of those picks. I think they're all good games for you to snag on the PlayStation 5, for sure. But in terms of, newer stuff, I mean, Deathloop, definitely you got to get your hands on that one.
Yeah, I think Deathloop. I still haven't played any of the God of War games, but I am in two minds as to whether I want to try that on PS5 or if I want to just reserve that and see it as my first big Steam Deck game and see how that performs over there.
Play it on the PlayStation 5. That's ridiculous.
I really, considering the number of games I'm going to have to play until that point.
They just delayed the Steam Deck. You're going to play this game 6 years later?
2022. Have you seen what February 2022 looks like, Pete? Have you seen that release window?
That's what I mean. How are you going to find time to play God of War then?
Probably never.
Right. So you should play it on your PlayStation 5. Isn't it on the...
Well,
hold on.
It's not on the PlayStation Plus collection, unfortunately.
What is on the PlayStation Plus collection?
Original Persona 5's on there, but not Royal.
That's such bullshit.
You've got the Uncharted collection and Uncharted 4.
You've played those,
but not Lost Legacy. I've played all of those. Yeah. There's The Last of Us, but not The Last of Us 2.
You've played Until Dawn, right?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. I have played Until Dawn.
Okay, so you should play that.
Yeah, the precursor.
No, God of War's on this list. It's here.
Oh, well, I'll play on that then.
You should play God of War. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to buy the game if I can play it for free.
So we've got Ratchet and Clank. We've got Deathloop. We've got God of War. We've got Ghost of Tsushima. What else we got? What else are we trying to get on this list? I don't think that you should play
Spider-Man Miles Morales and I don't care about the other one because I like Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse.
I mean, if you're trying to go down this road, you could get the deluxe edition. It's like $10 more and you'll get 2018 as well.
I mean, that probably would be the route I went down, but I think I'd play Miles Morales first,
That's insane. It's a
Why?
sequel because it's a sequel.
It's a smaller game. Yeah, but it's not really a sequel though, is it?
I mean, I guess not.
It's not like the story follows on.
It's like a side story, but it definitely definitively takes place after the main game, though.
It was fine, Star Wars Episode 4 takes place after Episodes 1 to 3, but I start with that one every time.
Okay, but all you're doing is confirming my argument because what you're doing is the watching in release order, which is the right thing to do. And now you're here advocating for this crazy shotgun thing. Like, I'm going to play the .5 game first, and then I'll play.
I just like Miles Morales more than Peter Parker. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That's fine. You're allowed to do that.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll try it. I did like Sunset Overdrive.
It's not that long either.
To swing around. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I need some smaller games. Ratchet's only like 5 hours, right? Let's get through that. Yeah.
No, Ratchet is pretty long.
I know.
It's not. It's maybe 20 hours, right? Like, I think.
Oh, that works for me. Same as Astros. I think that's a short game as well.
That's only like 4, maybe.
Yeah.
No, maybe 2. Yeah, okay, so Ratchet and Clank, on how long to beat, it says it's 11 hours for the main story, 17 and a half for completionist.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other standout. You know, you could play Disco Elysium there and actually have it work. That's a thing you could do.
I'm definitely not playing Disco Elysium there. If I'm playing Disco Elysium, it's with a keyboard and mouse.
That's ridiculous.
It's not.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Because I genuinely feel like that game would play better with a keyboard and mouse.
Imagine choosing.
Do you know
to
what
play
I
on
think
a PC?
that game needs? It needs a little circle on the screen that you just move. You know?
I don't know. I don't mind the highlight and moving between things thing, because then I don't have to just spend time like gliding across the screen back and forth and like looking for things to interact with. Like, I like that I can kind of just.
Yeah, I do like it.
Listen, it's definitely better if you play it on PC, I'm sure. But imagine choosing to play on a PC when you have a PS5 right there. Insane to me. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. But I feel like the other game you might want to consider is like last year's, Game of the Year sleeper hit, Bugsnax.
No.
Sarah made a very similar sound. She goes, "Ugh."
No, that's a hard no. But I do want to check out. I can't even remember the name of the game, but you remember it was in that last State of Play, and it was the thing that was coming out. I think it was on that day, and I was like, "Oh, I'll play that on PS4 because it's coming to PS4 at the same time."
That the social deduction game.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but it looks so good. So I definitely want to pick that up, and I want to play that.
You should go claim that on
with people.
PS Plus then.
I don't have PS Plus, so
yeah, but get it and claim the game, and then play it on your PlayStation.
Is it this month's PS Plus game?
Yeah.
If I pay for like PS Plus and then cancel PS Plus, do I get the game if I pay for PS Plus again?
I think so.
Okay.
I think you get access.
Could someone listening confirm that for me?
I think you get access to any game you've claimed, as long as you have an active subscription. I believe that's how that works.
Okay. That's how gold works, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't turned my PS4 on since The Last of Us 2.
That makes sense.
The last time I touched it. Because then after that, 2 months after that, the Series X came out, and I was just like, yeah, I'll just play this now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, aside from Ghost, there haven't really been many PS4 exclusives worth digging it out for. So
no, yeah, nothing that I've thought about playing Horizon again, but considering Horizon's Forbidden West is out very soon, I think that's probably going to be. No, I'm not playing Horizon again.
I replayed Horizon this year in preparation for Forbidden West, so I'm all good.
Yeah, I'm hoping the intro bit on Forbidden West is nowhere near as lengthy as the one on Zero Dawn was, because I remember that's like a good 4 hours before you really get into the main crux of the game.
I don't think it's quite that long, but it's long.
It feels that long when you go back and retry it. It's just like, oh no, I've got to do this again. We don't even have the focus.
Yeah. Well, no,
this is awful.
That part's not very long.
No, I know. It's the here's how you creep in a bush.
It's like the second or third thing you do is you find the focus and then save that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Teb, I think is his name. But anyway, I think that's a solid list. I think focusing on a few of the exclusive titles and then maybe filling in some gaps with PS4 games that you never got around to and playing the best definitive version of them is like definitely the right way to play that, I think.
Yeah.
Coming in at this
You know,
point.
I really do want to play The Last of Us 2 again because I played it on a base PS4. And I know that that game probably plays phenomenally well,
Yeah,
even on a PS4 Pro in comparison. Because it was, I know you got like a 60 frames per second mode, and I was like stuck down there at, sub 1080p with 30 frames per second. I still loved the game, but I know it could offer so much more.
for sure. Yeah, that's one I don't think I want to replay anytime soon, though. Like, I got to be in the right headspace for that game, I think.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like the remake, the rumored remake of number one. And then I think that'll be when I'm just like, yeah, okay, I could probably go for some more Last of Us.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So before we get out of here, we had a couple questions from members of the community that were, I'm going to call this talking point number 2. Second main topic. What a week. What a fucking week. Okay. But, it's a little different. Okay. Right. Like obviously this PlayStation 5 business, we got very, very jazzed about this. But for this one, we're going to be doing another little look back historically, which has been a theme these last couple of weeks, interestingly enough. We had a lot of anniversaries. But this is, of course, the 10th anniversary of a little game you might have heard of. Some folks say it's one of the greatest games of all time. Skyrim. I don't know if y'all heard that one off mic. There we go. Sarah's favorite game of all time. So there you go. Highly praised.
It's the 10th anniversary today, as of recording.
As of recording.
2011 was when it released.
So, of course, this being the day itself when we're recording, we had to talk a little bit about it. We had some folks write in about it. So I wanted to just take a little stroll down memory lane and talk a little bit about this video game, their video game. So Wakahula wrote in and said, will this be the last time Bethesda releases a Skyrim remaster, and how many versions of Skyrim have you played? No. You know what? And then here, I'll read this next question too we got from that doc guy. Are they ever going to stop re-releasing Skyrim? The answer to both of those is a loud no. They will re-release Skyrim forever, I think.
Do you think that's going to be the case now? Because obviously Microsoft own them now. And I wonder if this now just becomes the smart delivery route, and it just works. You don't have to re-release the game every 2 fucking minutes because now it's available on every console until the end of time.
I think that there's some truth to that, but I think now all that means is that we're in prime territory for the remake.
Oh, yeah, there's probably going to be a remake.
Right?
No, they can, because Elder Scrolls 6 still doesn't even
Doesn't matter. You have another team do it.
No, don't do it. I want Elder Scrolls 6. Just forget Skyrim ever happened at this point.
It's not going to happen.
Just give me Elder Scrolls 6.
Please. You and Sarah and every other Elder Scrolls fan needs to accept that Elder Scrolls 6 is probably like a decade away.
5 years, I think.
Okay, fine. 5 years.
2025, 2026.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope you're right. But...
I think 2025, because we've got next year is the space one. What the fuck's it called? Starfield, yeah.
Allegedly, it's next year.
No, it's next year. And then
allegedly.
It's definitely next year. They've announced it. It's coming next year.
Oh, yeah, you're right. People have never announced a video game and then delayed it.
I don't think it will be delayed. When was the last time Bethesda delayed a game? They're usually pretty regular with it, right?
I mean, didn't they? Well, that's a good question. I don't know the last time offhand that a Bethesda game was delayed, but it doesn't not happen.
No, of course it doesn't not happen, but I feel like they've given themselves, with the date they set at E3, they gave themselves a long lead time, 18 months to finish that game.
Yep. I mean, look, do I think it's going to get delayed? Not necessarily, but like it could. That could become a 2023 game.
It could. Plus, they just put their games out and then we do the QA for them. That's what happens with Bethesda games. Like,
So, I mean,
no problem.
I don't know. That's the thing, right? Say it does come out next year. I still think Elder Scrolls 6 is a long ways away. They're maybe in pre-production on it now, like working out what the world is and those. Like, I'm sure that there's work being done on it, but it's not the main project yet.
I don't want another Fallout before we get another Elder Scrolls. Like I love Fallout. Fallout is probably it is one of my favorite franchises of all time. But we've had so many Fallout games since we've had an Elder Scrolls.
It's been a bit. It's been 10
Yeah.
years. 10 years since we had an Elder Scrolls. It's fucked up.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But think about GTA fans. Like
It's been
they're in
less
the same
time.
boat, right? No way. When did GTA 5 come out?
2013.
It's got to be 10 years.
No.
Fuck. Okay.
I know. I remember because the year that Skyrim came out, I was still in community college, and I know GTA 5. I had moved out and was in my apartment. Let me see.
Weird how you like do things based on
2013
time. Yeah. Like 2011 was when I moved out, and I moved from Bristol to Leicester. I moved out of my parents' house. And Skyrim was like one of those first games I played. So I got back into gaming. I got PS3. I think I got PS3 for Christmas, either in 2011 or 2012. And I got Skyrim because I adored Oblivion. And Oblivion, I think, still has my heart as my favorite Elder Scrolls game, just because it was the first one I played, and I have that history and nostalgia for it, and
Sure.
the music and the locale and everything. But Skyrim is an objectively far superior game. It's phenomenal, and I think it genuinely deserves that place as one of the best games of all time. Look at how many games it's inspired. Look how many times they can re-release this thing and people still get excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think that Skyrim is one of those games that became so ubiquitous that like it's cool to like dunk on it, you know, and be like, oh, they're re-releasing Skyrim again. It's like, yeah, it's because people fucking buy it every time. It's because it's literally one of the most well-remembered games of all time. And like, you made the point, Steve, it's absolutely one of the most influential games of all time, right? Like, it's a game that like raised the bar, I think, for what a, you know, open world, you know, quest-based game could look like and could be and could do, and have a world that really felt like it was living and breathing. And those are things that, you know, look, right? Like what is the game now in 2021 that people would say is one of the most groundbreaking, influential, revolutionary open world games? Breath of the Wild. And what did the team behind Breath of the Wild say was one of their biggest influences? Skyrim.
Yeah. And you know, you can't really put it any better than that. I am very excited for the next game, but I think I'm probably going to download the Skyrim Anniversary Edition.
I gotta say, I kind of have thought about downloading it. I'm like, well, it's on Game Pass. Why not get the Anniversary Edition? Like, I could try it. I could kick the tires on it if I feel like it.
It's got all those mods included that probably completely change the way the game plays and how it feels.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, to answer Wakahula's question, I've only played one version of it. I've never replayed it. I only did my one run. That's it.
Wow. So I've done PS3, PS4, PC, and Switch. Yeah. I loved this game.
I've never tried any of those. I don't even think I finished it. No, I didn't finish it the first time. I put like 60, 70 hours into it, but I never rolled credits on it. I just did
that's mad.
Tons and tons of side quests. I did all of the major side quests. Like I did the Companions, I did the Mages Guild, I did the Assassin's Guild, like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I didn't finish the Civil War storyline.
Oh wow, the main story you never finished that?
No, I didn't.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe I should.
I was interested. Who did you side with?
In like the war?
I think I can tell. I think I could probably guess.
Yeah, not the Empire.
Oh, okay.
You thought I would do that?
No, I thought you would have not sided with the Empire. But you know, they've both got good things. You know, the rebels are racists and they hate the high elves.
Yeah.
So there's that.
No, yeah, they kind of suck. But that's the thing, right? Is like the Empire is also racist, just in a different way.
Trying to crush religion.
Yeah, so it's like they're both bad. Like there's not a good side, really. And I feel like my mentality was like, well, I don't like Imperials, and like these are literally the native people of this land. So like they have a moral high ground here in terms of defending their home from invaders. who are like trying to destroy their culture. So like, I don't know. War's bad. It's complicated, right?
Yeah.
There's no good side in a war.
I presume Sarah will download this anyway, right?
She like just replayed it on PC, so I don't know. Probably not. She might download it eventually, but I don't think she's probably itching to get back to it right now. She was just playing it again. Every time she starts a new run, she's like, maybe this will be my last run. This will be my legacy run. And then it never is.
No, because the good thing about this kind of game is you can just replay it so many times because there's so many different classes, there's so many different routes you can go down. You can side with different things, do different stuff. I used to hate having to decide who I wanted to go with, and I definitely did in Fallout. But it really does give you that level of replayability that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of why people love the game so much, right? It's easy to get lost in, and it's rewarding to pull on threads because there's actually been thought put into what happens when you do that, It was one of the first times I ever felt like when I was playing a game, when I pushed back, and I really appreciated that about it,
Yeah, I love it, and I just checked. It's not on Game Pass. It's the anniversary edition. It's like the special edition with mods. You have to, but you can pay. It's $18 to upgrade. So
that's not bad.
You can get the version that's on Game Pass and then buy the anniversary edition for $18.
Maybe I'll do. I don't know. Maybe I should like stream it or something and be like, I'm gonna beat Skyrim 10 years later. Like,
yeah, definitely do that. I mean, that's what I'm doing with Shenmue. It's like play
right?
some old games. So you're just like, oh, I want to play this, but I need to find a time to do it. And just set a stream aside for it. Like, look at Sierra. She's finally played Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. So, like, I wish it was easier to replay games. I love the idea of replaying games, but actually sitting down and ecking out the time to do it is so hard when there's new stuff that you want to be up on,
Do it as a stream. Get some mods in there. Get Sarah to backseat drive. You'll have a great time.
What if I do like I'll just like install a bunch of crazy mods and put them on like random, like, have you ever seen when people do that with Skyrim where it's like, you're just like the, this is one I remember where they replaced all the dragons with Thomas the Tank Engine. And it's so fucking funny to me.
I love the Thomas the Tank Engine meme. They did that in Resident Evil as well with Mr. X.
I remember, yeah. Anyway, I think there's a reason that people remember Skyrim so fondly. It's definitely one of the best games of all time, one of the most influential games of all time for sure. And I am definitely looking forward to seeing kind of what the future of Elder Scrolls looks like, even though I'm sure it's pretty far away. But we'll keep holding out that hope. So if you guys want to write in and let us know what you thought about, or what you think about Skyrim, right? What your relationship is to it over the last 10 years, and if you'd like to see me maybe do a little bit of a stream action with that, let me know. Write in, tell us. And if you've got a pick for what Steve should pick up on his PS5 or why he should put all those games aside and play Ghost of Tsushima, you write in and let him know, because, I'm already spreading the good word. Doc's already spreading the good word. Maybe you help us out. Maybe you get behind us on this one.
And other things I should buy, because I know we're doing the holiday gift guide next week. So not just for me, but other things I should get as like accessories for my PS5. Like maybe an SSD goes on there.
Sure.
Or some of those fancy headphones that Pete's got.
Yeah. So if that'll be our topic next week, it'll be our holiday gift guide. It will be across PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. Maybe some PC stuff thrown in there as well. Chewy is going to be here on the show as a third chair, so that'll be a fun time. The one and only guest allowed on the show. He'll be back. So I think it's going to be a good one. If you all at home have any thoughts for things that you think should be on our holiday gift guide for next week's show, make sure you write into us at questions@flipscreen.games. Hit us up on the Discord or get our weekly Twitter thread where we throw out the question. So keep your eyes peeled for all that stuff. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have you contribute to the game guide because as well as Steve and I have done this year, we've played most of the big releases. There's obviously always going to be games.
We went through on One More Thing.
We did.
We figured it out on One More Thing. We were like, wow, we've played most of these games. You can go listen to what our potential Game of the Year contenders are over there.
Yeah, a little bit of a teaser for the Game of the Year conversation that is, of course, just a few weeks away. So go check that out. Go check out One More Thing. Head over to the Patreon at any level you can get it. And, of course, that's the best way to show your support. But even if you don't have any money to toss our way, no big deal. There's a ton of free ways you can engage with the show and show your support. Head over to flipscreen.games. We've got links to everywhere that we are. Go give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, give us a rating if you're an audio listener. All that stuff, helps us out quite a bit, and it's all free for you to do. So go check it out. We greatly appreciate your support in that way if you enjoy what we're doing here. And of course, best way to support the show, share it. Let people know that we're out here and that you enjoy the show, that they should come be a part of what we're building here at FlipScreen. So thank you so much. I've been Pete. He's been Steve. We'll catch you next week for another episode of Flip Screen Games. Take it easy.